The Taliban Ministry of Defense has announced that it has repaired 4,000 American-made military vehicles and armored vehicles. These include Humvee tanks, Ranger, International, Crane, Bucket, Forklift, Mole, tanker, and agency-used vehicles. The Taliban's Ministry of Defense claims that these vehicles were repaired over the past year, despite not being used for 10 years or more. Mullah Mohammad Isa Yassin emphasized that these repaired vehicles will be handed over to the entities associated with the Taliban Ministry of Defense. The Taliban Ministry of Defense also claimed that they repaired 270 Russian and American weapons at the Central Corps 313 repair shop. The ministry stated that these light and heavy weapons include Svinganen, M49, M40, Zikovic, and DSK bullets. After signing the peace agreement with the U.S., the Taliban, who had been capturing Afghan villages and cities one by one with their old motorcycles and Kalashnikovs, are now challenging their enemies using American military helicopters and airplanes. The U.S. Department of Defense claims that from 2005 to August 2021, it spent $18.6 billion to equip the previous Afghan government's armies. However, during the withdrawal of foreign forces and the collapse of the then Afghan government, equipment worth $7.12 billion was left behind for the Taliban. In a report presented to the U.S. Senate in April, the Pentagon reported that the remaining equipment in Afghanistan, now in the hands of the Taliban, includes aircraft, helicopters, air-to-ground military equipment, armored vehicles, tanks, communication equipment, and other light and heavy weapons. Taliban's aircraft and helicopters. Before the Taliban returned to power, the Afghan government had 226 military aircraft and helicopters. Some of these aircraft and helicopters were non-operational, and some were sent abroad for repairs. On August 15, 2021, hours after the news of Ashraf Ghani's escape became public, several pilots moved 61 of these aircraft and helicopters to Uzbekistan and Tajikistan. Pentagon: $7 billion worth of U.S. military equipment is in the hands of the Taliban. According to the U.S. Department of Defense report, when American and NATO forces left Afghanistan and Ashraf Ghani fled Kabul, the Taliban gained 13 aircraft, 44 helicopters, and 7 Scan Eagle surveillance drones, all of which were active and operational. The Taliban also captured 73 non-operational aircraft and helicopters, including 28 aircraft and 43 helicopters. Oryx, a defense and intelligence analysis organization focusing on Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan, reports that the Taliban have 13 active aircraft. These include 1 A-29B attack aircraft, 1 Cessna 208 utility aircraft, 3 L-39 training aircraft, and 8 AN-32 transport aircraft. According to this organization, the Taliban also have 45 helicopters, all of which are operational and used daily. These helicopters include 7 UH-60A Blackhawks, 11 MD-530F attack helicopters, 12 Mi-8 and Mi-17 transport helicopters, and 15 Mi-24 and Mi-35 attack helicopters. In June, the National Resistance Front of Afghanistan shot down one of these Mi-17 helicopters and captured 2 pilots, 2 co-pilots, and a Taliban commander. The U.S. Department of Defense, in its report, estimated the value of the aircraft and helicopters in the hands of the Taliban at $923.3 million. This figure includes the value of 73 non-operational aircraft and helicopters that foreign forces destroyed at Kabul airport during the fall of the Afghan government. Over the past year, the Taliban have tried to repair and activate some of these damaged helicopters and aircraft. According to the group, in addition to repairing and activating dozens of armored vehicles, 3 aircraft and helicopters, including a C-130, an AN-32, and a C-208, have also been made operational. In May, Taliban Ministry of Defense spokesperson Inayatullah Khwarazmi said that these 3 helicopters and aircraft were made operational by engineers working with the group, using the available equipment. Although the spokesperson claimed that these helicopters and aircraft are usable after repairs, there is no evidence of them being used in Taliban military operations or for the travel of the group's leaders from Kabul to other cities. In May, the Taliban released a video of a Scan Eagle surveillance drone in flight. Although it is unclear whether the Taliban have the capability and knowledge to use these drones, 7 of these drones, captured intact at Kunduz Airport, are operational. The Pentagon report states that a total of 9,524 air-to-ground munitions worth $6.54 million were left in Afghanistan. In addition, the number of 316,260 pieces of light weapons of the U.S. Army, including snipers, sniper rifles, and grenade launchers, worth $511.8 million, remained in Afghanistan. In the months after the American withdrawal from Afghanistan, the Taliban forces held military parades in the streets of this country, along with displaying the military equipment captured from the United States. It is unconscionable that high-tech military equipment paid for by American taxpayers has fallen into the hands of the Taliban and their terrorist allies, several Republican lawmakers wrote in a letter to Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin last year. Before announcing the withdrawal from Afghanistan, the U.S. Ministry of Defense should have made the security of U.S. assets one of its main priorities. The report said that virtually all of the communications equipment that the United States gave to Afghan forces, including fixed and mobile stations, portable and handheld commercial and military radio systems, and related transmitters and encryption devices remained in Afghanistan and are now in possession of the Taliban, are located. In the 3 years that have passed since the Taliban rule over Afghanistan, no country has yet removed the name of this group from the list of terrorist groups, and with this account, the Taliban group is the only terrorist organization in the world that has received state-level advanced military equipment from the United States, has inherited